Nice. Welcome if you're joining us from wherever you're
Hope
tuned in.
Hope it's not copyrighted music.
It's not. It's part of the what did these guys offer you streaming guys. Yeah, so you can actually share it.
It's part of the package.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Clement is working on for my some soundtrack for me.
Awesome.
Actually, Clement, I think you can just get me some stems from your EP and some lyrics from them.
Clemo is multimodal, writes scores, produces music, does podcast.
Nice. So let me see. We have one viewer so far, but I noticed that on LinkedIn, guys really tune in a lot on LinkedIn.
So it streams both to YouTube and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I just started yesterday to do both LinkedIn and yeah. No, it's I can give them props any day. They're doing a good job.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're getting actual value for money, so.
For sure. And I'm doing I can do unlimited streams. I can do as many as possible. I want to make it a bring in guys. I want to do things like master classes. Not just me. I can bring in Kolo if you like to come talk about architecturing or anything. You come on board, you stream, guys join in. Yeah, that's what I'm planning. I want to make it a huge community. Yeah. So.
You have bold big plans.
Nice. So stay tuned. Hey guys, so if you're joining us, welcome. I see 2 folks already on the stream. So I'll remove this calendar and then we can get started. So welcome. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're just starting. I think, but we already quorum. For me, I always think about quorum being 2. Once I'm with my guests, and then I have my co-host Hebs there. We are good. So, but I see already 2 folks on the call, so that's nice. So I will, without further ado, I think I'd like to just jump in right away. So I will say this. I say I won't tire asking you folks to subscribe. So I'm just starting off the bat. They say cutting through the cheese. Folks subscribe because I think there's strength in numbers. If you give us good numbers, it means we can be able to sustain ourselves as this project. So I would like to get a place where the project is sort of paying for itself. And but of course, I'm really grateful for people like Clement, guests like Liyosi who come in, because you sort of building our momentum. So I really appreciate that. So yeah. So as I said, we want to get to 1024. That's the number that I'm looking for. Subscription. So Collins, I know you already sent to your relatives and everyone. So please send to more and more, even folks who are not even in tech. They're just trying to understand what is this tech all about. You can come here, it can rub off on you, and you might get this bag and get into this wonderful career of tech and software engineering. So that's how I'm looking at it. So please share. So if you're live, please like the stream. It's just an algorithm. You guys are developers, you understand this algorithm stuff, playing with the algorithms. When the YouTube sees that people are liking this, they will try and find out what's really happening here. Why are people liking this stream? So if you like it, basically it will somehow pop up in people's timeline. People are maybe on their way to work and they're just scrolling through YouTube. They might see this and they jump in. So we like that. So please share, like, and subscribe, of course. So Now, now that is housekeeping is done. On to my today's session. So today is going to be a wonderful session. I have friends of mine. Of course, you folks know Hebs or Clement. He's been a guest here also. If you look at episode 5, you'll see his story, and it was a wonderful time we had together. And of course, he's been my co-host. So I'll quickly introduce him, or actually let him say something, just the way of introduction. Clement, I know by now you know what to say in your introduction. So
Actually, never know what
go.
to say. But yes, I'm Clement, software engineer and the co-host of this great show.
Mhm. Nice. And of course, on to my main guest today. But hey, before I go to my main guest, I keep forgetting to introduce myself. I think sometimes it looks cocky, like Kwani should be knowing me. But I'm sure you're joining this call, you know, like, who is this guy? So I'm Anthony Nanda. I'm also a software engineer. I have to pick up myself over 15 years now. Writing code at least more than 20 years, but maybe software engineering, maybe 15 years. So I was happy to start this. I was lucky to start this very early. So, and same to the story of Clement. I'm most likely Liyosi. Maybe I'd like to hear today Liyosi's story. And now on to my guest. So Liyosi is a good friend of mine. We actually went to the same school. He was 1 year behind me. Same alma mater, basically 2 years.
2 years.
Oh, I just
Yes.
made you 1 year older. So 2 years behind me in the School of Computing. It's called SCI, School of Computing and Informatics. We are really proud alumni of that school, of the University of Nairobi. And we always, of course, I know folks tuned in from JQuat, KU, or all over the world, University of Lagos. But we always believe that it was one of the best places to be. But I always know that universities always is the best places, because you bring in people from diverse backgrounds and from all over the places. And also, if you're into the right program, you're meeting the smart of the smartest. So I will. So that's how we met. And sometimes I used to think that we were in the same high school, but that we were not. But somehow when we met, it felt like we've met before. But yeah, so we've known each other for at least now. College is going. It should be more than 10 years now.
Yeah, more than 10 years. Around 13, 14.
Yeah. Since you joined like first year, so it's really great to have you on this call. And Kolo, I know we are fixing these things as we go. Can you just center yourself on the screen?
Let's
Or you
see.
can move your okay.
I move my
Good.
feet like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. I don't know. I
Good.
don't know. It's not my OCD, but maybe even you, Clement. Yeah, but all good.
Good.
So, welcome, Kolo. Thanks so much for honoring our invitation. And I'm looking forward to having a very wonderful discussion with you and to just know your story. And today the topic was falling in love with the fundamentals. Like, that's the first thing. I think we were to do this call like way back in like 1 year ago. I think we were to do this like interview with you. And the moment we hopped on that call, and I remember we were on Teams and we were talking about it, and you just went straight into like, I could see your passion about like guys knowing about the fundamentals, talking about imposter syndrome, how to overcome it. So, folks, if you like to know all these niceties of software engineering, please welcome, and you're gonna have a good ride. So, Collins, over to you. Welcome so much, and I would just want you to first introduce yourself, like who are you, and then we can go into the meat of everything.
Yep. Collins Liyosi, software engineer. I think for now a decade. Active software engineer for now a decade. But writing code for a little bit more than that. Yeah, I was your schoolmate, met up first year, did a bunch of things on campus, very fun things. Yeah, you are actually one of the people that made me get better at some of the things that I know right now. So kudos to that. Yeah.
Nice. I appreciate it. And where are you working now? What are you doing?
Yeah, right now I'm at Microsoft. I'm senior software engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just building some backend stuff.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. You want to say like which products you're on? Like maybe some
Yeah,
people are using
yeah.
your product.
I mostly work on M365 sort of backends.
Backend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
anything
So
like if I'm using Teams, I'm using Outlook. It
yeah,
somehow
yeah.
touches your code,
Yeah, so
right?
if you're using Teams, you're using Outlook, you're using OneDrive for business, the OneDrive for consumer, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the all sort of office products. Yeah, there is some backend that drives that, and on that team.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, nice. So we'll go to one of our common questions that we'll keep asking. We will easily do like so almost like an autobiography of someone. Maybe you're talking about the whole almost your whole story. But for today, I just want you to go straight to how did you get to this like field? Like just from when was the first seeds planted, and how did you end up in the field? And then you can pick up from there.
Good, good, good. So the early days after high school,
Mhm.
we used to have almost 2 year gap year before you joined campus. I think it
Yeah,
was a good idea, right?
yeah, cheers.
So I was clearing high school, I was 17. Then I have almost 2 years before I joined uni. And that is where the action started. So I had a friend who was running a cyber cafe. So doing the normal things like printing, scanning, opening people email accounts, Facebook accounts, doing a little bit of office packages training and lightweight web design. Yeah, so the friend and I struck the deal and was like, hey, I'm getting overwhelmed. So you come help me with the mundane stuff, the printing, the scanning and stuff. But in return, I won't pay you a salary or anything. You will get to use one of a dedicated computer over here, right? Then you'll get to drop in some of the classes he was offering then. So the web design classes using this CMSS Joomla then, and lightweight web dev HTML CSS.
Nice.
So you come during the day, you help me with the mundane stuff. When there is less load, then you drop in some of these classes. Then you get to use uh, some of the PCs in his cyber cafe. Yeah, so that's where it got started. I would say I was a sharp kid, also I thought. So he got to be started on Joomla. So pick that up. Then I could help him with a bit of that training after I picked it up, and he had also his side projects for designing websites. So he was impressed. Then was like, then I was curious. I wanted to know more. Then was like, actually, instead of you dropping into these HTML, CSS classes, which are very slow paced, he pointed me to W3 schools and told me, okay, you go there, all the content is there, self-pace yourself, learn as much as you can. And I spent tons and tons of hours and nights just learning HTML, CSS, then JavaScript, building things. And the most exciting thing was, up to that point in time, in my life, I never built something, right? Like learn something, then build something, then saw the artifact of what you build. So the excitement of building pages, adding a bit of animation using JavaScript, building simple forms to collect input and post nowhere. So it was very exciting. So I picked that up. Then I could now help him with some of his training again in basic HTML, CSS. Then at the same time, he used to have a school management system he was selling to schools, but it was built using VB and an Excel backend. So after I'd seen my progress, it was like, okay, I want to sort of redo that school management system, but basically redo it to be a web app, right? Then it was like, you could help me on the project, But now you got to learn these few things. So it gives me printouts with the notes on PHP, databases, right? So at that particular point, I'm just now learning, just reading the notes, PHP, databases, but not really trying them out, right? So, but now he quizzes me on it because remember he's a teacher. He teaches students in his cyber cafe basic things. So he'll like tease me on some of those concepts. Then I could of course just go read and try memorize and you get. But then I could sort of pass his quizzes. Then I was like, okay. So I want you to now go fully hands-on. So he sets up the editors on the PC, shows me how, okay, you can write a PHP script, you can connect it to a database, you can set up a LAMP stack, all that. So it was very abstract and very painful to just like, so HTML, CSS was a bit easy, but now the whole concept of databases, data, right? You have a page, you have a script that runs, that connects to the database, right? It was a very abstract, but I could just sort of learn the patterns, learn the mechanics of doing it, yeah, and do it without really understanding, right? Yeah. So, but the mic I kept at it, and the mic kept sort of. I think then he got me a book for PHP for Dummies. Yeah. So the more I read more about it, the more those concepts could start clicking, and the mic could practice. Yeah. So 6 months into that, the project starts of modernizing his school management system into a LAMP stack, right? So it tells me, okay, you're gonna do the forms, the HTML side of things. I'll do the PHP side of things and the DB design side of things. Yeah. So we go through that, and 1.5 years into it, I was a pretty comfortable web designer, and I could write simple database-based applications. And that sort of built my confidence. At that particular point, I had not decided the career path I wanted to do. Because if you are a STEM student who really excelled at STEM subjects, you kind of get spoiled for a choice. You want to go into health sciences, you want to go into electrical engineering. So you are like, okay, computer science is low cadre course in terms of the capability of students it requires, right? Because if you look at those cut-off points, right, things like electrical sort of require more cut-off points. So I was like, I think I should go do these high intense harder courses also that ought to be, rather than doing computer science, because I felt like it's easier, right? It requires less cut-off points. But now, so it's almost we are gearing towards getting into campus. Then the guy had a diploma. Then he tells me he wants to close down the cafe. He wants to go and do a CS course. Then at JQuat, right? Then I'm like, you're kind of making money. He was driving a comfortable car. Then I'm like, why would one close down a thriving business to go do a CS course, right? There must be something to it. He must be knowing better, right? So he closes down the cafe actually. He goes to the campus, I think try to build the business on the campus, set up a few of the printing services around campus. I could visit him. So whenever I visited him, I could see some of the books he was like reading, some of the printouts C++. And I'm like, what is C++? Then like, okay, it's a programming language. Then I was like, I'm interested. I want to learn about it. Yeah. Then it gives me the printouts. I read it. Then I don't know how to type in the code, even compile. Then he takes me through that. I write my hello world in C++. I'm excited. So after that, I just knew, okay, I think I had now developed that muscle on how these tech applications are being built and running. Then I was like, okay, I want to learn more. Then that's where now my journey in CS started. So come, we join uni first year to take up CS course, and the community I think then there was a lot of vibrant tech community around.
Before you go there, I cut you short on.
Yes.
But then, so just after high school, you're working with this guy.
Yeah, cyber cafe. Yeah.
The cyber cafe. By the way, where was this place? Where?
So it was in Langata.
Just here in Nairobi. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And by that time, you already made up your mind. You're doing computer science. You already selected.
Yeah. So later, much later, because I changed courses. So I was initially enrolled to do another course, but now I had to now do the interfaculty and
nice
to CS. Yeah.
Good. Nice. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. So in uni, I think that's where most of the growth happened. First, I had classmates who came from backgrounds that had them programming in Java, using Linux commands, right? So I was like, okay, this is very exciting, and I'm very curious. I get to learn that just from classmates. Then at that point of time, IHub was also very active. So spending most of the time at those IHub meetups and hackathons. So building small web-based CRUD applications for small startups, right? Yeah. So first year of uni, I spent lots of time writing code, right? And it was actually writing code for money, because then I learned how to monetize the skill, right? I had learned how to build websites and get paid. I'd learned how to build simple CRUD apps and get paid. Yeah, so I was just then learning things to get me the next gig, right? Or when I'm trying to do a project and I'm out of my depth, right? Then I think, okay, what is the next thing I'm lacking that I need to learn so that I can progress, right? Yeah, so I get stuck, I dive in, I learn. Yeah, so that vibrant community around campus and the tech ecosystem, iLab, that was a very big catalyst in just making us to really grind, learn, and build the skills.
Nice. And let me ask you, you just actually mentioned something which I think will easily sort of be a good segue to our main discussion today. You mentioned about, and it's so funny, maybe most likely you had the same feeling, but for me, similar ideas. Or when in campus, I'm doing a lot of gigs. Actually at the detriment of my education, I ended up really taking my education a little bit not seriously. After second year, I think I was deep into business, doing websites and apps, mostly just PHP stuff. CodeIgniter, if you guys who remember CodeIgniter way back in the days. But let me ask you about now when it comes to, did you ever miss the fact that you are forced by circumstances to learn this maybe about maybe let's say it is middleware, some stuff maybe with education and all that, but then you wanted to really go into the fundamentals, to learn the fundamentals of how does everything work from the bottom up. But rarely do you get like sometimes the chance, because here is a gig that you need to do, and actually it's getting money. It's actually something that is working. It's pragmatic and it's working. And as opposed to going to the boring stuff of learning just the tech for the sake of it, like let's say you're learning about DAGs or graph theory or this, which you can't really apply in this current job that you're doing. How was your dance between those fundamentals and what I might just call fundamentals, and now the gigs that you're doing?
So first year of uni, I was just greedy and excited about I can build things and sell and get paid. But I had schoolmates on campus who sort of were taking a different trajectory, who are really investing time to learn the fundamentals, learn CS theory, algorithms, and participate in code jams and competitive programming, right? So there's a time, I think, first year or early second year, there was a code jam competition. I think you knew about it. You hosted in our computer lab, right? And the guys are like participating. So I go try, of course, false confidence. I go try some of those competition for code jam, and I'm like, I can't even solve any of the problems. And some of my campus mates, who are of course years ahead, third year, fourth years, can. Then I was like, what do they know that I don't know? What is the gap, right? Then I think around that same time, one of our schoolmates also got an internship at Google, right? Then I was like blown off. I was like, oh my God, you're going like to Europe and you're going to like intern at Google. So those are like the triggers that made me realize, okay, there's something they know or they're doing that I'm really not doing, and that's why I'm like insufficient, right? Yeah, so pairing up with them, listening to them, right? Then they introduced me to now, because if you look at the curriculum, things like the DSA come around second year, third year, because first year is mostly like low level C programming and a bit of calculus with algebra thereabout. So yeah, so they had that insight that I was lacking. So they pointed me to, okay, yeah, there is competitive programming, there is data structural algorithms, you can learn these. So that now triggered me into that part, right? So now I'm actually not just learning higher level tools to build business software and get paid. I'm actually now starting to now go deeper and really understand how computer work, the low-level programming languages, how to design algorithms, right, and participate in those particular easier level competitive programming exercises, right? Then also some of my classmates, they'd also pick that up, so we could even now compete, right? Let's solve these. Then it was just a natural kind of feedback mechanism, right? You just doing it for the fun of it, you love it, you are trying to be smarter than your classmates. Yeah. So it was just sort of catalyzing itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and let me ask you. So for you, it looks like it's just being at the right place at the right time, right?
Yep. True.
So we have folks that I know who are listening. There are things that are going on for them, and they're working. Like you're doing this crude apps, CRUD apps. The dev understand that, or just simple things that you actually know that it's not challenging your intellect at all. Like it's those are.
Looks like Prof. Nanda has frozen.
Yeah.
Looks could be his connection or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's wait for him, or Clemo, you can pick up the conversation.
I think he was going to ask. Oh, he's back. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I actually somehow I knew that you actually know my question, and actually maybe Clement will finish for me. So actually something happened, guys. We fly the plane while fixing it. So what? Kenyan Ways had a small blackout, so I had to switch to my modem. But yeah, we have to keep. So I think maybe Clement will finish the question for me. But the question was, what should someone do? Like how should they disrupt themselves? They're already doing stuff. It's paying bills and normally I think it's hard to say, but those are the things that now the machines are going to come and do. So you're going to have a very rude shock sometime later, or sometimes actually what happens is you get, let's say you get into that works for you during the junior to maybe mid-level. It works well because junior to mid-level is all about delivery, doing solid stuff. And then now when you get into seniority, you start now getting those gaps. You go to meetings, people are talking about this pattern or this stuff. You wonder like, what are they talking about? And you start now feeling that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in and all that. Which again, we're going to talk all about that in some questions coming downwards. But tell me just on this part, like how should someone disrupt themselves without waiting to be disrupted?
Yeah, so there are two things, right? There is coding for money, for economic reasons. You just want to learn the craft to earn. And there is what we call enthusiasts, right? You just love tech, you wanna be in tech. And the two camps, it's okay. It's okay to code for economic reasons. It's okay to be an enthusiast, right? But for either camps, there is one common thread that that there is. If you want to earn more, if you're coding for economic reasons, you want to earn more, right? There is some advantage in understanding more of what you're doing, right? Then you become more valuable, right? You stop now going for high level job that require high level skills, because those they get flooded out very quickly, right? And economically supply goes higher, demand remains constant, then you can quote less price for that, right? So there is more, even if you're just coding for the love of earning, there is just more reasons to learn more so that you can get high paying gigs. So that can be sort of a catalyst. Then for the enthusiast, yeah, you just want to understand how things work. You're gonna peel up the layers and go low level and just understand things from the fundamentals sort of point of view. So there, the drive is what am I lacking? How am I out of my depth? And what is the next thing I need to learn, right? To peel out the next layer in the abstraction stack. So that just gets like interest driven, right? Yeah.
So I think,
but in other camps, there is self-motivated interest to just learn more.
Yeah. I think I'm just reflecting on myself. Like, I think I'm always leaning on this. I'm an extremist. I'm like a fundamentalist. So for me, it's like all or nothing. But the world doesn't work that way. So I love that. It just shows that how much you've grown. And then once you become old, you sort of start toning down on your hard stances. Like if you're working with me, you have to be passionate like I am. So I think for you, the answer has been that it's okay to just do it for the money and do the bare. Okay, I'm putting words in your mouth, but to do the bare minimum, and then if you're an enthusiast, you should really go hard. So that is like the real world as it is right now. Since this is actually the topic that we're talking about, is do you think there is a time when sometimes the people who are not really in need for the passion, they sort of detract the others who are really like, who want really to go hard, right? So they will maybe say, hey, let's be doing this code reviews. Oh, no, why are you doing code reviews? And then worse is when that person is the manager. So it means like now he builds that culture, and then it's just everything is destroyed. And then now you can't have the good guys. The good guys leave the company, you leave the team. So do you think that someone can become toxic when people are just there for the money or just do the bare minimum?
And it's okay to just be there for money and do the bare minimum, right? And the first category, you just wanna do the bare minimum to get you paid. So learn the next high level tool, the next framework, right? That can get you that job and build that generic application, right? It's okay. Because I always feel the market sort of decides how people invest their time, right? So if the market is rewarding for people building web-based CRUD application, right, it's gonna create that demand. Then you will have more people learning those CRUD-based web application. If the market says, okay, let's sort of look for people who are good at these frameworks, right? Mm-hmm. Then on the other side, people will gravitate towards learning those frameworks, right? Mm-hmm. To just fit into that particular demand, right? And it requires, and then because then they're gonna be the majority, they're just gonna create a lot of noise. Oh, there is this high-level JS framework that has come up. Are you learning it? There is this new tool. So then they crowd out the noise. So the people are really interested in learning the tools, how things work, right, from ground up, learning the craft at a deeper level, right? They get quote unquote deplatformed. Their voice is not heard, right? So then the tech space is then just full of people knowing and learning new tools, going to tech conferences, all talking about these high level tools. But now people who are actually building the low level tools don't get the voice. Then over time, they're forgotten. They no longer exist. Right? So then it distorts the whole equation. So that's why I'm always like finding your voice in a few people they love the craft, they're enthusiasts, they want to understand. Finding that voice that the minority at this particular point in time, right? Mm-hmm. But just finding that community to encourage each other, because it's very hard, it's painful. You're learning something, you're not getting immediate economic reward out of it, right? And seeing someone picking up a Django or a Spring framework and getting $1,000 a month, and you are there trying to learn assembly and understand how stack frames work at an assembly level, but there's no market demand for that. You can get demotivated, right? So it requires like a bit of self-conscious and understanding to really know, okay, I'm just doing this because I really wanna learn it, not because I can get an economic reward out of it.
Yeah. But your tech was really, I can't add anything on it. Like it's so, I like it and I agree with you completely. Like you are a pragmatic person. Like you just go like how things are. Like there's nothing about utopia. Like myself, sometimes I drift into utopia, like and try to sort of. But I guess we need all these people. Like we need I can say you're a you're a really central person. You like to look at both sides and actually being fair on both sides. Myself, I can be so much unfair to the folks on the left. I'm so like on the right. So and I think it's good to acknowledge that and know that. So by then you mentioned about like finding that like the right people, the people who are passionate about it, this stuff, and trying to be in that. So I've been trying to think through this and see whether we could do actually a community of folks. There's a small community. This is not a community of hype. It's not a community where you won't see any ads like telling you to join the community and all that. So it's sort of exclusive, just so to speak, in this day and age of inclusivity. But that is it. Like we just want people who are passionate about this stuff. So it's called ptc.codes. If you go there, there's just simple instructions on how you can join, and I love to pick it from there. So I was actually telling Kolo, I know Clement is already part of that group, and Kolo is already there. And I was actually telling him this morning that actually what I'm looking to is no, actually it wasn't you. Actually, I was telling another guy actually part of the team. I'm just looking to 16 folks, just 16 folks. That's what I'm looking at. Both boys and girls. Like it's not just men alone. Boys and girls, 16. That's what I'm looking for. I know you guys. I like playing around with the binary numbers. So 16, and then we'll cap it at 16, and then at some point we'll go to 32, and then 64, then 128, and that way. So, but we don't really need huge numbers. We just need folks who are really serious about this, and then I know they can permeate this. They can take it to their teams. They can rub it off to other folks. So that's what I'm looking for. So if you're watching and you like to be part of that team, check ptc.codes. It's not a cult. It's just a group of guys trying to better themselves. Yeah. So that was a quick commercial break and then sort of like what's it called, like like sort of a commercial break and the plug there. But I wanted Clement, might you have anything to add or a question for anything that anything that Kolo has said that you like to maybe add on or ask like a follow-up?
Yeah, I like the point you made about the market forces kind of determining the distribution of skill sets based on demand and supplies, all this. And I also think it's also a good sign, shows that the industry has grown. Because if you think maybe when the industry started, when you started from like mathematicians trying to figure things out, and it didn't even become like a field until maybe it's like it was a programming was a thing that mathematicians and scientists did to kind of control computers. Then maybe at some point people figured, this thing should be an industry on its own. There's and I think the fact that we have people of different interests and different ambitions able to make a living out of this, I think is a sign of the industry maturing. I don't know how well that is going to continue with all the development with the I don't know what disruptions are going to come, but I think it's a good sign. It shows not only that the industry has evolved, but also the barrier of entry has being lowered also means that more businesses can be built, and more businesses can be built also creates more demand. So in that sense, I don't think that takes away from the sort of like, let's say, fundamentalists, because it's like things that are building on top of each other. So
Yes.
we still have kernel developers, but we don't need as many operating systems as maybe we need bookkeeping systems, So I think it's also like market correction. And I think another thing, let's say if you're an enthusiast, maybe a lot of people, there are some maybe who want to get into tech because they saw someone who's in tech posting like a lifestyle that they consider successful, and they want that. They're not, okay, how are you able to afford this? Oh yeah, I'm in tech. Okay, how do I get started? There's that. And maybe there's someone who wanted to build something, and they realized tech is like a means, or programming is a means to build the things that you have in mind, and maybe they are passionate about building stuff. So maybe one I could look at it is like the world doesn't owe you anything. So if you want to build something because it's fun for you, like that's cool, but no one owes you money, So
Yeah.
it's up to you to steer, to take your career where you want to, and to know that you're responsible for the outcomes that you get. And if you're doing it for the passion, if you want to make money out of the passion, it's also up to you to figure out how to do that. Maybe if you want to go work at an operating system, or if you want to work in like maybe like at the low levels of like cutting edge research, it's up maybe to you to figure out a path to get to there where your passion and economic opportunity can align. Otherwise, then you can just do the passion itself as a hobby, and then figure out how to make money from whatever whatever demand there is. So I guess that's maybe look at it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Remember the essence of tech is to make things easier, right?
Yes.
So whether you are an enthusiast or you are a business dev, I call them business devs, right? Whichever category you fall into, remember the whole evolution, the whole work goes into making the next way of using tech, whether you are at the consuming side or at the building side, easier, right? So the higher the tools, the lower the barrier to entry, the more easier for more guys to get into, right? Because businesses are incentivized to get cheap resources to ship the applications, right?
Yeah.
So they'll invest in building tools that can lower that labor cost to getting them to ship, right? So it's a self-motivated interest kind of, right? Yeah. So yeah, so cause for me, I'm like, okay, sometimes I always feel business apps or CAD apps, right? They having that skill is good, is important, right? Because you are solving an actual business need that requires that skill set, right? But I always say, okay, learn that is good. It will give you sort of a leg inside sort of the tech space. You'll get in. But once that skill has gotten you in, that high level tool you picked up and learned and has gotten you in, like, don't stop there. Right.
Yeah.
Keep going deeper, keep understanding things at more depth. And that in itself feeds into you even being a better problem solver, good at offering solutions to that very business. And you even get and feel more satisfied, right? Just knowing that, okay, I managed to reduce latency by 10x because of this insight that is not so obvious that I had because of this trick I learned, right? So
The fundamentals, yeah.
yeah.
And quick one, there's someone who asked Victor Wagude asked on YouTube that does the ICT market favor new joiners, or is it a cartel-led system like law?
The reason why I fell, actually one of the reasons why I fell and I continue to fall in love with tech is purely merit-based, right? Do you have the chops? Can you prove that you can do this, regardless of how senior you are, regardless of how many years of experience? As long as you can prove that, hey, I can be able to do this and demonstrate, you're gonna be given a chance. So purely, merit-based.
Yeah, I think out of the industries we have in this country and even globally, I think tech is probably the closest thing we have to like a pure free market meritocratic system.
Yes.
Out of other professions that we have here, and I hope it continues that way. I think there've been like some forces that try to make it more controlled and less free, like with the ICT bill. But I hope it continues to be that free market meritocratic system where anyone sort of has a chance. Like, it's not guaranteed, but at least there's nothing that's colluding to deny you the chance. There's no like someone sitting in a boardroom somewhere that is actively trying to make it difficult for you more than it already is by maybe life circumstances. So I think that's one thing I like about this profession. Oh, Nanda, you're on mute.
No, the only thing I'll add is this: there are many levels to it. There are levels where it's not been meritocratic and it's a bit of the cartel system. So, but because you have to look at it as the whole system. So, in itself, the craft itself, the building and all this is almost a pure meritocracy, right? But now when you get to now where it interfaces with other things, like now the world of business, the world of financing, you're starting a startup, you're going to raise money. We have now the guys we call the gatekeepers. You have to know this person or this other person, you have to have gone to this school, you have to be in this clique. So yes, those now they're it's at play, but that doesn't stop you from you building this strong thing. Because I think I also always believe that in that whatever someone said sometime way back, that build it and they will come. So normally they don't come most of the times, but sometimes if you build a very nice thing, they can come. So and also the cost of developing is a bit low because you just need a few things. Only go to market is where it becomes a bit harder depending on the kind of thing you're building, maybe a B2C that you need to market it and all that. But there's a way actually you can build it and they can come. And they can come knocking, and then when the business guys, they'll say, even those guys who are in cliques, they'll start looking for you. So, and I'm looking for that day when actually I'll see that in action, where actually you build it and they come actually. Yeah, but let's not go into that rabbit hole now. But that's a good question, Victor. Yeah, I had there's so many, Kolo, you have a guide, and there's so many other questions, but the time is really, really going. But I want to see like what would be the best question that I can ask you before you leave. The imposter syndrome, because it goes together with, I think, fundamentals. So, and the need to prove yourself after getting the job. So could you just talk a little bit about it, like what is defining what is imposter syndrome? Maybe someone is hearing this for the first time, and you yourself, how have you navigated it, and what is your idea around imposter syndrome?
First, I've not had imposter syndrome, but I've observed it. And it's that feeling of inadequacy, right? That feeling that you're not good enough. You got a job, but you feel like a fraud, right? You feel like something happened, you got a job, didn't deserve it. So self-sabotaging by feeling inadequate, right? Yeah, and so imposter syndrome varies. Especially so, like I haven't had imposter syndrome in tech, but I've had imposter syndrome in different sort of areas. Right? Let's say I'm gonna go and try thing. There is that feeling I'm not good enough, right? But there's someone in that sort of space who doesn't feel the same way. So each and every one of us has experienced that feeling of inadequacy in a particular sort of space, right? So for me, overcoming it, two things, right? For me, is a feeling, is an emotion, is something that is just within you, right? Overcoming it is basically, especially now in the context of you've joined a company and you're feeling that way, overcoming it is trying to build credibility by delivering. So you join in, you're feeling less than. So the goal is learn as much as you can, uh, whatever that project you're working on, to basically have those early wins, right? And deliver those early wins. Then you build credibility on your team, right? With that, you are trusted, so that in the next time you're out of your depth, right? When now actually you are given a challenging problem and you can't deliver on it because you're not just you don't have the necessary insight, right, to deliver on it. It frustrates you. You're basically out of your depth. Yeah? You'll have at least some bit of self landing because they know you've been delivering, you build that credibility. So they won't point it on you being not skilled. They'll point it on something else that is not tied to your skill, or you can even expect yourself out of it, right? Yeah. So then also, I always tell people joining for a role, right? Try to interview the company as much as the company is interviewing you, because you want to also be in that sort of have colleagues who will help you out, who will make you thrive, right? Who won't make you sort of feel self pity if you fail to deliver something or you deliver something that is suboptimal, right? So having that team members who can hold you and sort of make you get better progressively, I think does help. Then the need to prove yourself. I think this happens mostly. I've like for almost 10 years of experience, 70% has been on in tech startups, then around 30% in big tech. I've seen that problem more of in big tech, because so big tech is kind of established, right? The big tech business, it has a very solid business model because of a particular technical insight they have, right? Then they have built something over years, so they have some sort of a moat, right? So when you join that kind of setup, right, there is that feeling that I need to really do something to be noticed, because even the head count is typically bigger in big tech. So you feel like you want to do something, you want to prove yourself in a way that you can be noticed. In smaller startups, it's very easy because you have more responsibility, right? The breadth of work you do is a lot. You kind of decide the trajectory of the project. So there is less need to prove yourself out of the work you do. But in big tech, there is that need because your work cannot easily be noticed. It's when you just joined. So I always tell people, take your time, learn the system, learn the business. Time for proving yourself will come, but don't make that the goal. Let it come naturally. Let it come as a by the way thing. Right?
Yeah. So I think what I'm hearing is also you need that patience. Like you might come like actually from, let me just say my story, a quick one about I cannot say I had of myself also imposter syndrome most of the times, but I have sometimes jitters, like you feel, man, like expectations they are high. Like there's a time I joined a team and already there was so much hype about like this guy Nanda is coming on this team and all that and that. So everyone was expecting me. Like the first call I'm joining, everyone is just saying, "Hey, Nanda, welcome." The guys who know that team, they actually may be laughing at me like right now, like, but so everyone has this high bar for me, like, which is good. So I join in, and of course I'm now have to learn the business. I have to learn like what's really happening in this team, what are these tools and all that and all that. So one thing I've noticed is trying not to don't fake it. Be honest. Like when you don't know anything, you don't mean that because you're a senior engineer on that team, you can't say you don't know this thing. Always, every time I keep telling people about not knowing is this. The good thing about not knowing, you just don't you don't know that thing only once in life, only once. You don't know, like by the time Clement tells me about it, now I know it. So it means, what does that mean? Let's say you have 10 knowledge gaps, the things that you're joining this team, you have 10 knowledge gaps that you need to fill. So you go into a meeting, guys. First, in this company, I won't mention it. First, acronyms. You get into everyone. Even people say, guys, let's not use acronym. But then, even the person saying that in the next sentence, they'll throw in an acronym. So you won't even actually, you cannot say like it's just a natural thing. Acronyms, they just make things easier and make things faster to communicate, like the high bandwidth communication. So you're here in the meeting and you're just floating. Don't feel afraid to just ask, like just pause people and just ask. When people notice, oh wait, we have a new person here. So this thing is all about this and that. So if you have good guys on your team, they'll actually bring you under their wings and they'll help you. So always being honest. Don't try and say, don't fake, project something that you're not, because that's now when you actually, somehow you're feeling that is like you're thinking it's an antidote to your imposter syndrome, but actually it is actually detrimental. So being honest, like if you think this is who I am, and if you would like to fire me as I am today, okay, you can fire me. But the good thing is that if you're honest and you're working on the craft every day, you're improving. Like there's no way that imposter syndrome is going to even stay. Like you'll not know things in a few days, and before you know it, you already know stuff. And another thing that for me, what I do to kill imposter syndrome is to just go into the depth and understand how this thing works ground up. Because I notice that most people don't understand how everything works ground up. They will do something for expediency. They'll do it for a quick one to just finish that project. But if you know ground up, it means you build trust. Because if you're meeting someone and you're telling them, but this thing won't work because of this and that, and actually they go and see actually it won't work, they start trusting you. Like, okay, I trust your opinion and all that. So over time, that trust that Kolo said that you build over delivering, also you can build over knowing your stuff and knowing how everything works, and being that guiding light for the team. So I think that's what has worked for me, like for killing imposter syndrome. But I can't say that I've been overwhelmed by it. But once in a while, if you're hit by it, like you get somewhere. But always just know that. And I know the last thing that this is a hack it's a mental hack. Just know that there are many other things you know that those people don't know. Like you go to a room and you feel like people know so much than you. Just know there's always one or two or three things that you know that no one else knows in that room. So if you think about it's all about knowledge and imposter syndrome, think about it that way. That there's something else that you know that someone doesn't know. So so no one should flex on you about knowledge. Okay. So yeah, that's what I think. We lost Kolo. I know maybe most likely it's to do also with the internet and power. So I thought I'm the only one who lives in those shady places. So anyway, but let's see if Kolo will come back. But it's okay. But we have a good question from Enoch. Maybe Clemo, you can pick this up for Collins. Have you seen the question from Enoch? Okay, Kolo is back. Kolo, welcome back. Let me add you back to the stage. Yeah, Kolo, welcome back.
Thank you.
Don't tell us what happened, but it's all right. It's good that you're back. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you. A question for you from Enoch. Enoch actually is already named as a tribe.
I can't hear I don't know if it's just me.
I can hear you, Clement.
Yeah, Clement, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
We can.
Both of you.
Okay, let me leave and join. I think my audio got messed up.
Oh yeah, most likely the Bluetooth stuff and audio. Yeah.
It's fine.
Sorry about that. Anyway, okay, but Connor, you can pick this up. Can you see the question? I posted on there.
You posted in the chat, in the comment.
No, it's not on the stream yet.
Oh
But
yeah,
let me read
I've
it
seen
for
it.
you.
The one
Enoch
from
tried.
Enoch, the one from Enoch Omondi.
Yeah, sure. Can you take it up? Yeah.
Okay, so
So let
about
me just read it
specialization.
let
Let me read it so that for the audience, let me read it. So, hello tribe,
sure.
glad to be listening to this great mind. So, one thing that has always disturbed me is about specialization. As senior engineers, would you advise someone in the early tech career to specialize in what interests them most, like backend, front-end, cloud, DevOps? Yes. So, I think it's again the evolution of how tech has been. Right. Early on, we never used to have these specialized roles. You are just a programmer, right? You just build stuff. You would never use to have distinct back-end, front-end, DevOps roles. But over time, just given the scale of software and how complexity has gotten, right, it's very hard to get depth across all the stacks, right? So front-end has become very complex with almost highly interactive applications. Backend has gotten very complex in terms of building high scalable solutions there. Even data storage layer has again just become complex on how to store millions and millions of records and be able to look them up at almost under a second. So because of that, right, because of that recognition that you can't really be very good at any of those layers, then each of those has evolved with their own complexity, right? So what I always tell people is learn the breadth, learn about front end. Don't go learn about back end, learn about storage layers, learn about DevOps, automating your infrastructure. Learn those, right? At least know how they work at an operational level, right? But now, specialize in one place, right? So recognize the landscape or the territory, but specialize in one place. So you wanna go into front end, really go into the depth of that. If you wanna go into back end, go into the depth of that. Yeah. So you then are it's even right now even there's now ML in the picture, right? So learn about also ML is something you can't avoid right now. The next wave of sort of tech, right? So appreciate the landscape, have the working knowledge in each of these areas, but now have one place that you are really strong at.
Yes, and by the way, talking of specializing, could you just give someone a tip? Like sometimes you wonder like where should I specialize? Sometimes there's the hypes and the things that are coming and going. So could you just give someone a framework on well, not there's not one way of doing it, but how you do it or how you did it? How did you choose where to specialize?
Yeah, so for me, I bucket my knowledge into two categories. There are tools that I need to do for my day-to-day earning. So this will be frameworks, Django, Spring, React, right? Just knowing how they work, right? To get me paying the bills, right? Then there's another bucket about that also feeds into this first bucket, but basically learning again how the tech stack work, right? Operating systems, programming languages, memory organization, networks, right? So the good that comes with this latter category is the more you learn from that latter category, the more it feeds into you becoming better in the first category, right? Then over time, you build a mental muscle that is so strong that picking up a tool and being productive in it is much easier. You can pick up a language and within 2-3 weeks, you are good at it. You can pick up a framework because now you build a muscle of how these frameworks are built, right? So you're gonna, let's say, do high level sort of way of organizing software using dependency injection and all that, right? You wouldn't appreciate that until you've actually tried to build something and seen the problems that this thing has, that we need this new way of doing things to solve that, right? Yeah. So learn the tools for trade, learn the workings of things, then have that feedback loop feeding off each other. Yeah.
Nice. That sounds awesome. And Joseph Mtiga added that in a world that is increasingly rewarding generalists, go deep in one language or field and then go wide. Skills in one technology are usually transferable to others. I think almost like a summary of what you said. So like, and this like
yeah. Even let me chime in about transferability of learning one language. I always tell people different programming, because I'm very strong enthusiasm towards PL's programming languages and the theory behind that. Like, different languages are designed with different constraints, right? And it's good to learn different languages, not from the usage side of things, like I'm gonna learn the syntax and build things, but just understanding like what are the driving design factors, because different languages choose different constraints they design for, right?
Yes.
So being a polyglot, being able to know different languages, it gives you you even stop participating in these wars of, oh, Python is better than Ruby, or Java is better than C, or Rust is better than C++, right? Because it kind of know that they're designed for different constraints. Or let's say managed languages like C#, Java are better than, let's say, Go or Rust or C++ that handle memory directly, right? You kind of know like they are all addressing different constraints, and there's no better than the other because you can't compare them.
Is it just me or is Nanda frozen?
Are you still there, Anto?
Oh, I think I saw him move.
Sorry, how about now?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay, now
how about now? Yeah, sorry.
You're good now.
Yeah, my internet again also just went down. I don't know what happened, but anyway, no more no more excuses. Let's go on. So yeah, but I lost whatever you said there. But I know listeners heard it. It was all about how skills transfer between various verticals. So another thing I think to look at this is that normally I summarize it as just be T-shaped. You have a wide variety of things that you know and you can do, but you have one or two things that you're really good at, you're specialized, and everyone knows you for that. And I guess those things sometimes can change over time. I think you can move from one time to another, those T's changing. So yeah, but specializing in one thing is good.
Yeah, but you can, it's very easier to get overwhelmed with the things you need to keep abreast and learn, right? But just know that in all of these shiny things, there is always underlying concepts, right? That when you master them, it's very easier to transition from one next shiny tool to the next. So if you budget your time and spend more time learning underlying concepts, then you can basically pick up a new tool within hours and build something. Yeah.
Nice. Kolo, I know we haven't even touched everything that we want to talk about today, but time is up. But I know I'll have to bring you back again. I think we have to go maybe actually this topic around specialization. But I think it trips for many people. Like, they don't know exactly where should I specialize. Should I look at my current job and specialize on that first? For me, that has worked for me a lot. Like I specialize according to where I am at, like in the specific job that I'm doing, because I have to incentivize. You have to incentivize yourself, because if you are specializing on, let's say, hobby stuff, I realize it's hard to really pull it off because you're doing them after work. So you'll always be looking forward to finishing your day job so that you can go do the after work stuff that you really love. Which again, I think it's another, like, it's a long. I think it's there's no size fits all, but I think it'd be nice time to just come and listen to all perspective. I like to listen to what Clement thinks about specialization, color, and I think maybe we can make it like a round table, maybe bring in two more folks, and we can just talk about this like as a topic. So I think it's a nice topic to go deep into. So Kolo, before I let you go, but I still have to bring you back to part two. I think folks were really liking this discussion, but it's the only time that has done us injustice. So give me, this is the last question that we keep asking, like what are your top 5 dev tools that you use every day? Like we call them the everyday carry, the EDCs. So what are your everyday carry like as we close?
I think for me, the top number one is Vim, right? I think I learned Vim early on and I fell in love with it. So nowadays, every time I go to an editor, let's say if I'm doing .NET, Visual Studio, or let's say I'm doing web dev, yes code, right? I always try to get the Vim plugins for that. So that at least I can navigate around files and edit content much easier without leaving the keyboard. So that is number one. Then the other 4 depends on what I'm working on at any given time. So if I'm doing API-based things, I love API clients that I use, Insomnia. If I'm doing some profiling for a particular process, I'll use profiling that are available for that particular edit I'm using. So whether JetBrains, JetBrains products for JVM-based things and .NET stuff for C# based things. So for me, Vim number one. Then Vim gives me that cross editor compatibility in terms of being able to edit code in whichever editor I am in using the same top skill. Keyboard shortcut. Yeah. Then of course I have GitHub up on my phone. I like reading code. So I have a bunch of repos I follow, I like. So when I'm on the run, I can pull up and then browse through code and then through code, right? It's fun, it's interesting. I think those are top 3. Yeah.
Lovely. Nice. I love that. So thank you so much. I think you're the first one I've seen like you have Git. For me, I have GitHub on my phone, but it's not for, I don't read it. It's just for my notifications and because I work on some open source projects. So just for notifications. But maybe I should try to also read code from the phone. I think it's an interesting thing, like a pastime, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So Kolo, I can't appreciate you enough. Thank you for coming through. It's been a wonderful conversation. And thanks, folks, for joining. I see the streams were, for me, like 12 is magical. Like I'm used to small numbers. So you guys already like, though of course I'm looking forward to the days we'll be doing. There's this show I keep watching, is a football whatever show that I keep watching, a live show, and I see guys like 4,000 and 400,000 and something live who are watching. I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get there. Like I know guys are not that enthusiastic, but the 12 guys, the 10, 20 is good for us. So thank you for listening, and of course, after this, the stream is still available for playback. Please share within your networks with your other engineers on your team and let them tune in for the next one. So as I said, we are really putting together so many nice things. And I didn't actually mention that I've seen so many friends of mine. Kennedy, I see you. Corinne, long time. Good to see you. And we'll catch up. Yeah. So, and so many folks who joined and gave comments, amazing conversations. And I teach Stephen, he said, I think learning different languages helps how to design and build applications using the first principles mental model. Love that. So big up cars Noreen Liyosi, you must be knowing this. This is your cousin. Says
I have family. I have family plugged in, and
nice. So it's been awesome. I really loved it, and looking forward to our next installment when we'll be talking about specialization. I'm gonna put that together, and we'll have that session to go deep. So if anyone actually on the call, if you like to be on board, Metich, I know you. If you like to come on the call for that, let me know. DM me on LinkedIn. Let's talk and see. We can have a round table of just people, because I like hearing those perspectives. I think they're really interesting. You pick up one or two things from everyone, so that's awesome. So once more time, thank you, Kolo. Guys, like, subscribe. I think this is a common thing you keep hearing from every YouTube channel. So I don't like repeating it over and over, but they said actually it works. So guys, if you can just, actually someone said actually it works. So for the folks who are on the call, I'll just give you in three, two, one, do the subscription. We wait for you. Okay, if you've done, thank you so much, and have a nice one. And yeah, see you on the next one. Be on the lookout. We have a channel on WhatsApp if you want to know what's popping, what's coming on next. We have also a YouTube, a LinkedIn page. You can be following there. You know much about what's happening and what's coming up next. So look forward, and I'm really loving this. And thank you so much, my co-host, Clement. I don't think you had enough time to ask maybe more questions today. Time really went by fast, but it's all good. And once more time, thanks, Kolo. Have a nice one, and I'll see you later somewhere else.
cheers, guys. Good conversation. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you.